I'm Stephanie, and I'm a youth services librarian at Pine Hills.
And I'm Christina. I'm also youth services librarian at Pine Hills. And we are going to talk about the New York Times Best Illustrated Books for 2017.
Yeah.
Which was
Okay.
always very exciting when that comes out.
Yeah. So this first one is The Way Home in the Night. And I think I'm going to botch his name.
I'm going to try Akiko Miyakoshi.
Yeah. Okay.
And I really liked it.
I liked it too.
Some people really found it kind of creepy.
Yeah. I found it a little creepy, but I liked it, though, still.
So for those of you listening at home, before you request it, it is about a bunny family, a mom carrying a very tired little bunny home through an urban city at night. All the lights are on in the apartments. The shops are all just beginning to close. It's muted grays. The only color comes from the bunny family and the shopkeepers and apartment dwellers in their apartment. And it's sort of very slice of life, what you might wonder about as you wander around your urban neighborhood.
Yeah.
And peek in your neighbor's windows, which, if you live in a city, this is what people do for entertainment.
Yeah, it's definitely very relatable for people that live in Albany. I really liked just the simplicity of it. I feel like that there were a lot of dark spaces in the art, but also, you could see a lot.
Right.
At the same time in
Yes.
the illustrations.
Yeah. As though you were walking around at night. It is. It's all
Right.
charcoal. It's charcoal and pencil drawing.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of other books in the past that have been on the New York Times bestsellers too.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about what we might talk about. The stuff on the New York Times Best Illustrated lists are sometimes some of the books that are not necessarily going to be top of the bestseller list. And,
Yeah. Or a
you-
Caldecott winner even.
Well, they might
Sometimes
be.
they are.
They might be a Caldecott winner, but they might not be the one that the kids are clamoring for again and again and again. And they might
Yeah.
be. They might be.
But it's a little more esoteric than your normal, like, Knuffle Bunny or Mo
Right.
Willems.
Which was on the top of the New York Times
Yeah.
bestseller list for months and months and months. Exactly.
Yeah, which it reminds me of a more, like, esoteric Knuffle Bunny a little bit.
It's very urban.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's very urban. The illustrations are very striking, the same way as in the Knuffle Bunny books. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. But yeah, it is. It's very, a kid living in the city would definitely
Relate to that.
relate to both of those books.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay,
no,
cool.
I did. I liked it. I
Yeah.
know one of our coworkers did think that it was kind of creepy. He liked it, but he thought it was a little creepy because it doesn't fit your mold of the book that the kids clamor for again and again and again. But,
Yeah, and in the book they're talking about what they see through the windows, so
Yeah.
I think that's what it's a lot of voyeurism going on there. Like maybe like that's why it kind of looked creepy to them. They were like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Look,
they're
our
looking
neighbors
in."
are having
Yeah.
a party. Look.
Yeah, so I think that could be why.
Right.
But I mean, for a kid, they wouldn't see it at all. But for an adult,
Right.
it might be creepy.
But
It's kind of a universal fascination, I think.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it is. Last week I did the last run 5K down through Washington Park, and I was running behind some people, keeping pace with them as we were running down State Street, and they were going, "Look at that beautiful chandelier in that, in that house." And
Yeah.
so they were, this is what you do in a city. You
Yeah.
kind of, it's nighttime, and you admire people's chandeliers, and you do things like that.
Yeah. Cool. I know. And then our next one is On a Magical Do Nothing Day, which I said in my notes was probably my favorite out of the entire list. Just because I liked the illustrations a lot. I liked how bright her coat was. I feel like you can spot it on the pages very well. And I think like a kid could, when they're reading it, they'll say, "Oh, there she is with the orange coat," kind of thing.
Right.
I just liked how it's very, again, relatable. Like, it's about someone that's...
It's about unplugging.
Yeah, exactly.
And the difficulty of getting a kid to unplug.
Yeah, the difficulty, yes.
But the magic that happens
Yeah.
with a successful unplugging from the In this one, the 3DS ends up at the bottom of a pond at the end of this book. You don't see that till the last page, but
Yeah.
it's and the kid doesn't even notice, which I actually think strains.
They probably would notice. The kid definitely would be
A kid
upset.
would notice if their 3DS fell out of their pocket. and
They'd
went
probably
into-
be running home being like, my 3DS is in the pond! And
Right.
then they would go and do a magical do-nothing day.
right
And
right.
go around and check out their
After-
surroundings.
Yeah, after the mother of all
After the
meltdowns.
meltdown.
Yeah. So yeah, I really liked the orange coat. So this one is really gray. It's like a rainy, horrible day. The kid goes out in the rain after he's tired of shooting aliens. His mom is writing. Dad is stuck in the city.
Yeah.
So again, this being the New York Times, they choose things that are very relatable for New York City kids.
Yeah. And that subplot about the dad, I kind of at first was like, are they separated? Are they fighting?
No.
It's just someone is at work, the dad's at work.
Right, A Kid in Paris, where the writer who wrote this, Beatrice Alemania, she lives in Paris, and a kid living in New York City who is fortunate enough to be able to go away for the weekends to the Hudson Valley or to the east end of Long Island or somewhere, will totally relate to this, just being away with one parent.
Right.
But yeah, so the illustrations are, again, very dark with punches of brightness in this orange coat. And I thought the orange coat reminded me of the Three Robbers.
Oh!
We have discussed a lot.
Yes!
I love The Three Robbers by Tommy Ungerer, which is about three thieves who steal a little girl named Tiffany, who's perfectly fine with it because she's very unhappy with going to live with her aunt. And so in that, they actually end up, rather than stealing things because they never knew what to do with their wealth, instead decided to take unhappy children in and use all of their riches to raise these unhappy children. And they put them all in these bright red capes. And here is this child kind of snaking through, kind of looking like the children in the red capes, or kind of like Peter in his red snowsuit from the snowy day.
Yeah.
So I definitely felt like this harkens back to classic children's illustrated books.
Yeah, I did get the
everybody would
Snowy
know.
Day, but I didn't get the Three Robbers. But now that you mention it,
Yeah, Tommy Ungerer is
and
quite
you know,
the hero.
honestly, that book grows on me. The Three Robbers.
Well,
it has
I think
grown
you thought
on
it was
me.
weird.
At first, I was like, why? I mean, at first, I was kind of like, why are these people, stealing these kids? Like, what? Where's their parents? Kind of thing. But now.
They were unhappy orphans.
Yeah, if you kind
Three
of
Robbers?
put your brain at the door, check your brain out the door, it's kind of it makes sense, you know.
I actually think that if you have a pretty unhappy childhood,
maybe you can relate to that.
I can relate to that, and I can relate to someone wanting to come and kind of take you away from all that.
Yeah, just
In my
figuratively,
case,
not
right.
Yeah,
like okay, take me, away and give me a nice life where I can be happy.
Yeah.
And so I kind of related to the Three Robbers, but there was a good there was a Slate article about it, and the guy who wrote the article was like, what is this book? I don't get it. I don't understand why my 3-year-old wants to read it all the time.
Really? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Was it recent?
A year and a half ago, probably.
Oh,
it is
okay.
somewhat recent because they
That's
all
funny
got
that they
re-released, I think,
mentioned it.
by Faden.
Okay.
So
yeah, because it came out in what, the 80s, I think, the Three Robbers? Or is it the 90s?
I think the Three Robbers came out in more like the 70s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So did you read
Maybe
it when
even
you
the
were
60s.
a kid?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
No, I read star hits from a very young age.
Okay.
So on A Magical Do-Nothing Day, I actually think, and actually both of these books would be good for lower elementary age kids. I mean, on A Magical Do-Nothing Day, it definitely has a lesson that it wants to impart.
Another thing I thought was, when I read this, is it kind of reminds me of Waiting by Kevin Hankins.
Yes, I thought
a little
so too.
bit. Yeah, so that book is about some toys that are personified, and they're waiting to be played, and to be played with. And I guess the they're just waiting to get off the shelf, and finally at the end the kid, I think, does.
You never see the kid.
You never
though.
see the kid.
No,
yeah.
they watch the weather. Like sometimes it's windy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's snowing.
But it kind of reminded me of like teaching that lesson of
Right.
you gotta wait and you have to be, no devices, no
Yeah.
plugging in kind of thing.
Like on a magical do nothing
yeah.
day. You're right. Yeah. So so there he's dropping his DS.
And
but
he won
there's
the-
all mushrooms and there's snails and
Yeah.
the kid in the book. I'm not sure if it's a boy or a girl. Kind of pokes the antenna of the snails, which, unless you get really close to nature, you don't know when you poke the antenna of a snail.
Yeah.
It goes in, and then you can watch it come out again, and you can poke it again, and it'll go in. It's,
Yeah.
hours of fun as long as the snails will,
Yeah. We'll accept it.
will
yeah.
accept it. Exactly.
They're poking.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, no, I thought it just kind of reminded me. And that won a Caldecott honor, or
Yes,
right?
it might
yeah.
have won the gold medal. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Anyway, but yes, this would not be eligible for a Caldecott because it
No?
was originally published in France.
Oh, that
And-
stinks because I feel like this could be a Caldecott
And
honor.
The Way
at
Home
least.
in the Night may have been published in Japan before. Oh no, it was published in Canada. Now I don't know
Oh.
if Caldecott allows books first published in Canada,
Yeah.
but no, this looks like it was originally published. Yeah, originally published in Japan in 2015.
I think
Tokyo.
it's normally, it has to be an
It
American
has
author.
to be an American.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
And again, Plume. Maybe that's what the New York Times has done here. Apart from the nonfictions, I think were all first published in the United States. But the next one we have on our pile, Plume by Isabel Simler, again,
Yeah.
I think was first published in France, which is something we've seen in the
Probably.
last few years.
Yeah.
More and more books first published internationally and then getting
The notoriety in the United States.
getting the recognition here and getting published here.
Yeah.
And Plume,
Yeah, that was okay. I like the
Yeah.
illustrations a lot.
yeah.
But it didn't seem to do anything for me. Like, it just kind of was like, okay, maybe if you're trying to teach your kid different birds, like what different birds are, and like,
Yeah.
I mean, the whole cat subplot is a thing, but I didn't really, I don't know, it didn't really grasp
Right.
me too much.
The illustrations are amazing,
Yeah,
and they're really striking. And so, yes, best illustrated books, certainly.
yeah,
And it's about a cat who's a great admirer of birds.
mm-hmm,
And so you can see parts of the cat in each spread. It's mostly wordless. And it's got all of these wonderful owls, and the feathers that you would have fall off them, white feathers, black feathers, depending on the animal. So there's a bald eagle, and a house cat could never catch a bald eagle because a house cat is like a quarter of the size of a bald eagle.
yeah. So it's
um,
unrealistic then.
well, and it is,
Yeah.
and it's sort of, and so what I thought when I was looking at it, and the pictures are
Yeah,
stunning.
even a turkey, they can't
They
catch
can't
a turkey.
catch it. They can't catch a turkey
Yeah.
unless it's Thanksgiving and they got the turkey,
Yeah.
when, like the Bumpus's dogs in A Christmas Story. So I actually think that the cat is the author.
Yeah.
That I'm gonna go out on a limb, and the cat says, "Oh me, I collect feathers." That's how the book ends. You see the cat finally. It's a cute little all black cat with a feather
Yeah.
in its paw.
Oh.
That's what I think. I
Yeah.
actually think that the author is the cat.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I could dig that instead of the whole.
A real cat.
Well, yeah. No, I was gonna say the whole thing about like how authors now they have that we're in a book
Yes.
mentality. All those
Yes.
we've talked about that before.
Right.
How
Right.
a lot of books the trend is,
We're in a book, and we're very upfront about
yeah,
the fact that
they talk about like the narrator is talking about being in a book and it's very meta,
Right.
and it can be a little too much. I think.
distracting.
Yeah. And I think I'd rather have, if you're going to do it that way, then you might as well do it like as being a character in the book.
Right.
Like the author is the cat. That's better
Yes.
than.
That's what I
Yeah.
That's Yeah, you'll have to borrow it. It's Plume by Isabel Simler.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely beautiful. You can't really use it. In some respects, you could use it for what birds, but like a parrotfinch, we don't have those in upstate New York.
Yeah.
And things like the jay, it just calls it a jay. It does not look like anything like the jays here
Yeah.
in New York look. So you couldn't use it from that respect, but it is. It's a beautiful book.
Yeah. And how do you feel about the wordless or almost wordless books, like reading it or reading it to your kids or having them showing it to your kids? Like, have you done that with your kids? Like, how do they think? How do they feel about it?
Yeah, I had this book home.
Yeah.
My kids looked through it. I think my husband read it with my kids.
Yeah.
He's uncomfortable with books that don't have a lot of words.
Yeah. I would be too, I think, if I were reading
They
it
can
to
be
kids.
because you've got to fill a lot of space there.
Yeah.
And maybe you go through it too fast and then you've got to read another bedtime book. And that's always not.
Yeah.
So it is. I hate to say it, this might be one of those books that's really published for adults. It's
Yeah.
like an artistic study.
Yeah,
It is.
that's what it seems like to me. Like all those wordless books, though, I feel. I mean, Barbara Lehman does it well, but other than that,
Yes.
I haven't
and those,
really seen a
that
lot.
book Quest and Journey, is that by Baker?
I don't know.
Becker, by Becker.
Okay.
Quest, Journey. David Weisner does
Yeah, he
beautiful
does,
wordless
yeah.
books. This is very artistic and not action-filled.
Right.
It's slight action because you're wondering, is the cat eating these birds?
Yeah.
The cat could not eat an eagle.
He definitely couldn't. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Yeah, I always wonder about those books, like the wordless stories. Like, how do you even convey it to kids? Like, what's happening? Like, I feel like it would be very difficult.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the illustrations are beautiful, but
They
then
are.
after that, where do you go with it?
Right.
That's how I feel about wordless books sometimes.
Yeah, this is a picture book. I
Yeah.
imagine my daughter, who really loves art, might really get a kick out of this book.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't pore over it. An art student probably would. But-
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah. So I loved our next book that we're going to talk about. It's Feather by Remy Courgeon, which again was published in France at first.
Yeah.
So most of the books that the New York Times chose to highlight this year, and I don't know if they did it on purpose, are ineligible to win the Caldecott Award.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I loved Feather. Feather is a girl whose name is really Pauline. She's got two older brothers. Her dad drives a taxi. They emigrated from Russia.
Yeah.
And she loves to play the piano, Feather. And she's got her brothers always, because they're the biggest and the strongest, and they could fight her, she had to do all the work around the house. So what does Feather do? For a short period of time, she gives up the piano. It's awesome. And she learns how to box.
Yeah.
So Feather becomes, like, I thought, like a featherweight. Like, there she is. She's on the cover.
Yeah, I
She's
think
got her
that's-
boxing gloves. She's got her bright blue eyes peering out from over the gloves.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was good. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I loved it. Real girl power kind
Yeah.
of book.
Definitely. And the illustrations are different.
Yes.
The only thing that I was it kind of stinks because, again, I feel like this would probably be good for an elementary student.
Yes.
And a lot of the books didn't really have that younger,
No, none
that
of
younger
these.
appeal.
Apart from the nighttime one, Walking Home.
Yeah.
Because the child in the Walking Home in Night book is actually being carried by
Yeah.
her mother until they meet up with the dad, and then he carries the child.
Yeah. But no, I loved this book, and I thought it was a good way. It's a different topic, which
Yep.
is cool, and kind of saying like, oh, girls can box too, and
Yeah.
girls can go,
Yeah.
learn how to box, and they do well, and yeah, I thought it was really cool.
And I thought the illustrations kind of reminded me of sort of 1960s, a little bit like the Grinch, how that would have been illustrated, or a little like the Chuck Jones, Tom and Jerry's
Yeah.
illustrated, sort of the late 50s, 60s. So they're very stylized.
Yeah, definitely.
They've got a cartoonish quality.
Yeah. I could see that too, like a 50s influence.
Yeah, and it's got a limited color palette, which is why it's got like a 4-color, I think it is 4-color, that they use in all of the illustrations, which does definitely harken back to early children's books when they started using color illustrations for them.
Yeah.
And I loved Feather, and
Yeah.
I do plan on reading it with my after-school crew. But yeah, I think that it speaks very much to 2017. Because Feather goes and she fights another girl and she wins the respect of her brothers. And she stops having to do all the work around the house. Wonderful outcome for Feather. And she decides she hates being called Feather and she wants to be called Pauline. Because that's her name.
Yeah. What a concept.
What a concept.
Yeah.
So no, I did. I loved Feather.
Yeah. It also kind of reminded me, I don't know, you might not know it, but it was about Father's Day. It was like Dad on a Saturday. What was that book?
It reminded me of the Dan Yassarino one?
Yes. That's what it was.
I read that every Father's Day for story time.
It reminded me of the illustrations
it's called,
a little
every
bit.
Friday.
Yeah, every Friday.
Well, yeah,
like the stylized.
Yes, it's a very stylized kind of. There's definitely more detail in this, but no, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, that's kind of what struck me too.
Limited palette, simple lines, really graphic.
Yeah.
And stylized. Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
I like Dan Yassarino.
Yeah.
I love that book.
It's a good book for Father's Day. It's very simple.
And it's about having a routine, Many of these books are very, they're a slice of life, or the first two, The Way Home in the Night. And Feather is about, having a goal and kind of reaching it, but not talking too much about it. Like, I think that we can talk too much about things, and Feather just kind of, she has this quiet goal in mind, and she's determined, and she does it, and then she goes back to what she really loves, piano. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it too.
Yeah. So, our last fiction book that we wanted to talk about was Joanne Schwartz, Town Is by the Sea, which is a work of fiction based on real life in Cape Breton Islands in the 1950s. Cape Breton Island off of the coast of Newfoundland.
So is she European too, or?
No, I think this was originally published in Canada.
Oh, okay.
Nova Scotia. So Cape Breton is in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
And again, very simple illustrations. The illustrations are beautiful. The ones of the sea just kind of glisten, and it's about a boy going about his day-to-day life, and Dad is a coal miner, and the mine is actually under the sea.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's got to be terrifying.
So it really, again, it uses light and dark.
Yeah. What was the other? Was it
Interestingly.
Feather that the dad was a coal miner?
In Feather, the dad was also a miner in
That's
Russia,
so funny.
and now he's a taxi driver in France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, if you look at The Town Is by Sea, there's the dad. So it kind of contrasts the boys going to the store for his mom, going to the playground with his best friend, and looking out at the sea, and the sea is glistening, and then contrasting it with the dad underground. You kind of see all of the coal in the scene. And there, it says, I know my dad is already deep down under that sea digging for coal, and that's kind of the refrain through the book.
Yeah.
And again, this is one of those books that we would have to hand sell.
Oh, yeah.
Or we would definitely have to keep out there. Like right now, it's got a new sticker on it, and those always go out more than other ones. But people would have to look for this one, and it's a quietly told story.
Yeah. I have to say I didn't have too much, and I had to read it twice, like to really, sink it in.
Yeah.
Have it sink in. Like it wasn't. I didn't have too much to say about it. I mean, I really like the illustrations, but it's definitely not something I would be like, be like, oh my God, this is so good. I don't know.
Right.
It was good, but
again,
it was
I think the New York Times wanted to use its power to highlight a book that needed it.
Yeah.
Like over the years, people have said, well, did you read Twilight? And I said, well, no, I didn't read Twilight. It didn't need me. Twilight did not need me to read it and hand sell it to an audience.
Yeah. That's how I
and
feel about with like Wimpy Kid Dork Diaries. You don't need to.
They don't need right.
Yeah.
They don't need Purplicious. Any of those Pinkalicious, not purple. That is one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't need us.
Yeah.
But Joanne Schwartz and Sydney Smith's book Town Is by the Sea. They do need us.
Yeah.
And it is. I imagine. If you want to talk about what Grandpa used to do. Because around here, people never worked. People here didn't work in mines. I mean, I imagine there are people who've worked in the lumber industry. I know that some of our library patrons, their parents worked in the lumber. Some of our older patrons, it might be something similar. Very dangerous work that really only men did, and so.
Also, if you have like a grandchild, in the down in West Virginia or something, it could be something relatable.
It's true, and so. I think that it is very much, it's the kind of book a grandparent might share with a grandchild to lead into a discussion about what life was like when they were a kid.
Yeah.
My grandparents would be talking about, life in New York City, but, which is very different than this.
Yeah.
But my grandmother swam in the Gowanus Canal, which is very different than the beautiful Atlantic Ocean off Cape Breton Island. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, shall we move on to our nonfiction books?
I guess so, yeah.
So.
The nonfiction.
The nonfiction. Let's talk about Muddy.
Yeah, Muddy's definitely going to win at least a Caldecott honor, I would say. Or is that...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to win a Caldecott honor. We predict. So this is us, Stephanie and Christina, predicting Muddy will win a Caldecott honor, and it will definitely get a Coretta Scott King.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's canon. It's official.
It is. The illustrations... I want to touch them. The illustrations, I do. They do. They have that quality like a Van Gogh. You kind of these are done with charcoal and oil pastel. And the oil pastel is really thick in spots.
Yeah.
And I do. If I saw it, I would have to hide my hands behind my back.
Yeah.
So I didn't touch the illustrations. Because you just want to reach out and touch them.
Yeah. This is cool, too. It looks kind of like the scratch paper.
It does look like scratch board.
Yeah, I wonder if they did that.
And there's also collage in here.
Yeah.
And this is Muddy, the story of blues legend Muddy Waters. It's by Michael Mahin and illustrated by Evan Turk. And it is about how, against all odds, Muddy Waters became this renowned blues musician.
Yeah.
Influenced all the rock and roll greats from the 60s and 70s, and was pretty obscure in this country unless you were really into the blues. Probably in the African American community, he was probably better known.
Yeah.
And then apparently the Rolling Stones and the Beatles came here in the 60s and were like, where's Muddy Waters? We need to meet him. And people were like, who is Muddy Waters? So this is a biography. It uses a lot of repeater phrases that kind of harken back to the music and repeating phrases, and it goes from his life as a sharecropper's child, being raised by his grandmother, moving to Chicago and trying to cut his first record. Mm-hmm. And it's again a book that you are going to have to show to children.
Yeah.
And really kind of put it out there, have it on display, but you do really want to touch the pictures.
Yeah, no, they are really beautiful, and I like like you said, it's charcoal and pastels. It definitely shows that it's different mediums
Right.
in the picture.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was good. I mean, yeah, like I think that these type of biographies, you know, they are important, and probably it's good for a classroom or you know something like that.
Yeah.
But definitely not a story time book. Unfortunately,
Probably not a story time book. But if you're really into music,
Yeah.
and there are people who are really into music and want to bring that, you know, turn that on to, you know, the younger generation. And I know when I was a kid, I tried to do a biography in 6th grade of David Bowie, but my teacher said that was inappropriate. How times have changed.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, and I had to do a biography of the Beatles, which she was not
Oh,
thrilled
so
about.
that's
And
not.
no,
that's
they
appropriate?
no, but they were not.
Yeah.
No, they were in the 1980s. They were considered a lot more kind of clean cut, hadn't gotten into trouble, and then of
Yeah.
course John Lennon was already dead by that point.
Yeah.
And so, they were kind of forgiven for some of the trouble that they got up into. But
Yeah.
no, David Bowie had not yet kind of crossed over into this elder statesman.
Yeah.
In the 1980s, he was not yet. So you could give it to a kid really into music who had to do a biography. So, and the illustrations are fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they really are.
Again, really graphic, great use of lights and darks. The emotion that is conveyed in the illustrations is really strong and powerful. And yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, I like it too. Yeah, definitely. And it's also, it kind of reminded me too of Radiant Child. It kind of has a little bit of that
Yes.
illustrations going on.
And that did
like,
win awards.
Yeah, it did.
Yes, that's
it didn't win. It doesn't look like this.
Oh wait,
looks
no,
more
Radiant
like
Child came
scratch-
out this year. I'm thinking of something else.
Did it? Radiant Child, the one about Basquiat? I thought it did.
No, that won the awards last year.
Yeah.
Yes, you're absolutely
It won
right.
like
Radiant
a
Child.
Caldecott honor,
It
maybe.
did. It did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the Coretta Scott King probably too.
Yes, I think
yeah.
it did. So.
So it's just gonna follow its footsteps
Right.
this year.
Right, and so again, Basquiat was not somebody who people had really,
would know. Yeah.
Right, and so that it's helping to get him
Right. Yeah.
out there. So we're going to talk about Frida or Ruth.
I guess Frida.
All right,
maybe?
I love Frida. Frida
I love
Kahlo
Frida,
and
too.
her Animalitos by Monica Brown, and it's illustrated by John Parra. And very similar to Feather, the illustrations are kind of very stylized, seem to be 1960s. They're very,
Yeah.
very colorful, like Frida, and the art that she made,
Yeah.
but of a muted kind of quality.
Which is kind of how she rolls anyway, or she
Yeah.
used to.
Well, I went and saw
Like her
her stuff. Her
paintings.
stuff was really bright. So
Yeah.
the New York Botanical Gardens had an exhibition of her work like a year and a half
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
And they had only 18 pieces, but they were incredible. And so this book, it is a biography told through her animals that she actually owned and used in her artwork.
Mm-hmm.
And so so we get vignettes about how she was sick and how she was in the bus accident. And then all of a sudden she's married to Diego, but we don't, it sort of time passes. You don't see how she meets Diego Rivera, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
But it does. It talks about her life through the animals. And so the illustrations are, again, excellent. Probably a lot lighter and brighter than the other books. The
Yeah.
use of,
I would
yeah.
say so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about, the adversity she had to overcome and the, her interior life and
Yeah, I liked it, but I also feel like there's so many Frida books.
she's really,
Frida is having a moment, and
the past few years
just-
have been really, but
I
read
kind of
some-
was like, really, another Frida book? Come on.
I read something recently that the reason she's having her moment is because
Yeah.
she was the first, like, young women love her, and she was like the first, and this is totally kind of dissing Frida, but that she was like the first selfie.
Oh, because of her self-portrait.
Yes,
Yeah.
but then again, Vincent van Gogh did self-portraits. Rembrandt did
Yeah.
self-portraits.
Norman
Is it just because she
Rockwell,
was
yeah.
a young woman that they were like, oh, she was the first selfie because she's
Yeah.
so frivolous? She was not frivolous.
I think it was
but
also
it is. It's
she
sort
has
of,
a good style about
she
her.
did.
She's got
she
some
did.
style.
Well, I loved the fact. So at the what I learned about her is that she intentionally did not tweeze her eyebrows because
Yes.
even in the early 20th century, you know, depilatory for women was sort of, you know, getting rid of all that unwanted hair.
Yeah, and
she
just
was sort
was like
of not
sticking
going
it to
to
the
do
man.
that. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like, I have hair and
Get used
I'm just
to it.
right, and get used to it. Exactly.
Yeah, that. I know. That's why I love her. She's awesome. Yeah,
She is.
But
is.
I just felt like we have to have another Frida book.
We
I don't
do.
know. I was just kind of like, oh my god. Like I didn't even buy it at first. I
Right.
bought it because it was on the New York Times bestseller list.
Right.
But I mean, so that's why I was like, because we have like 4 other Frida books.
We do have a lot, and they go for the gamut. We've got
Yeah.
Viva Frida, which is a picture book.
Yeah.
Which I have actually read at toddler story
Have you
time.
really? Oh,
I
that's cool.
have, because there's like 2 words a page.
Yeah.
And the illustrations are beautiful, and so there's a Frida for every age level. Basically,
Yeah.
there's a Frida book for every age level, so everybody can know Frida. And it's true. We are kind of having a reckoning at this point. Again, it's
Yeah.
very 2017, like Feather, Frida. It's kind of, you know,
Yeah.
pushing. You know, because for most of history, women were very much not. We were in the home.
Yeah, they weren't
And we were
celebrated.
Right, not celebrated.
Yeah.
And so we're taking somebody who was a great, and she's very of the moment. And
Yeah.
she does do these wonderful self-portraits, and she's very, you know, with the flowers and the animals, and
Yeah.
it's just, and so John Parra definitely gets that across in this book. And I would say that it's like a middle elementary school book.
Yeah.
But yes, there's a lot of Frida books out there.
Yeah.
And it is hard to decide at our level which ones to buy.
Yeah, which ones? Like I remember a couple years ago, one of the Winnie the Pooh books won an award.
Won the Caldecott or the
Yeah,
Newbery.
it might
Yeah.
have been the Caldecott.
Yeah.
And I bought the wrong Winnie the Pooh book. I bought the other one that was coming
that
out
didn't
that
win,
year.
right?
Yeah, so I had to buy the other one too.
Yes.
Yeah. But do you still have your Frida socks too?
I do have my Frida
Yeah, I
Kahlo
thought
socks.
so.
I do. I love Frida.
I know.
So,
Okay, cool.
So we love
And
Frida.
another woman,
That
RBG.
we love, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, The Case of RBG versus Inequality. It's by Jonah Winter, and it's illustrated by Stacy Innerst.
Inest.
And this is done all in watercolors. And again, it's got great use of light and dark. And it's a more straightforward biography than the Frida Kahlo and her Animalitos book. And it talks about how her mother put money away so she could go to college. Her mother died on the day of her high school graduation.
Yeah.
And she went to Cornell. Her father did not think she should go to Cornell. He didn't think that she should go to college.
That's very
And how
similar
she had to deal with anti-Semitism, and she had
Yeah.
to deal with going to law school, where she was one of 9 women at Harvard Law School in a class of 500 men.
Yeah.
And so
I know, you got to be real, brave to
she
do
was.
that.
Well, here it says that Ruth was very studious. Her solution to do her studying was in the bathroom where no boys would see her.
Oh my god.
Because girls could go to college, but they couldn't be seen as being studious. Otherwise, nobody would want to date them.
Oh, please, yeah.
So, Ruth...
And this was what, in the 60s?
No, because she's
50s?
84.
50s, yeah?
Yes.
Oh my god,
She's 86.
yeah.
Yeah, she's 84.
That definitely would be a big taboo.
It would, and so she, is brilliant, and it was Jimmy Carter who made her a judge when he was President Carter, and then it was Bill Clinton who made her Supreme Court Justice.
Yeah.
And she earned it, didn't make her those things, they weren't handed to her. She, and she is, really kind of inspirational.
Yeah, definitely.
For, kids who want to, see what they can become versus the greatest odds. I thought that Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Muddy Waters were very similar, which
Yeah.
on the face of it, you don't see. Because Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she was a young Jewish girl from Brooklyn, and her father did not think she should be educated. Her mother did.
Yeah.
And so she had great odds to overcome. Muddy Waters, his grandmother who raised him, said, I do not want any child of mine to have anything to do with music.
Yeah.
But the thing he was drawn to most was the guitar. And then Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she, at a very young age, even, so when she was in elementary school, she wrote an essay about the Magna Carta and the Bill of Rights called Landmarks of Constitutional Freedom. Now, if that's not somebody who's going to grow up to be a Supreme Court justice, I don't know who is.
Yeah.
So
that sounds, pretty
so it
Supreme
did.
Court justice-like.
On the face of it, Muddy Waters and Ruth Bader Ginsburg, not similar, but they did. They had to overcome so much to both become great.
I could see that, too, yeah.
Yeah. And there was one book that we did not get yet. And so, there was one book that was also on the New York Times Best Of that I had on request, but only, it was a book called River. I believe only Bethlehem had bought it so far.
Yeah.
Until the New York Times kind of plucked it from obscurity, and because only Bethlehem had bought it.
Yeah.
Or Colony, one of the other suburban libraries was the only one who bought it. And so now we're playing catch up, which I hate to admit, but I will admit when I've got to play catch up. And so we don't have it, and somebody else, somebody's got it right now. And so we'll get a chance to look at it when we can.
Yeah.
So I think the Ruth Bader Ginsburg, it's definitely might win an award. Because there are awards. Is it, not Laura Ingalls Wilder, is it the Seibert Award for informational book for children? So one of these might win the Seibert Award, one of these last three that we've talked about.
Yeah.
And we'll see at the end of January what gets picked for Newbery and Caldecott.
Yeah.
But,
I don't know. We'll see. Newbery is kind of a big, that's a mystery to me.
It is.
I don't know.
It is a mystery.
Yeah. Usually it's so clear cut, but.
Right.
And I was looking at the Caldecott, like the lists for, like on Goodreads, what people are thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember that Black Cat, White Cat book about at
Big
the
Cat,
end?
Little Cat.
Big Cat, Little Cat.
Oh my God, I loved Big Cat, Little Cat.
Yes,
we all cried.
That's
I would
a
love
contender.
for that to win.
I would, yeah.
Well,
it's a good book, but
we think it's a contender, but is it really a contender? Because when those people meet in January, we have no idea. Yes, that book is a great read aloud. It's got beautiful, simple illustrations.
Yeah. Did you read it during story time?
I have not, because I might cry, because it's got a big cat and a little cat.
I know.
And then the little cat becomes a big cat, and the big cat, the first big cat dies, and then it's like the circle of life, and then they get a new little cat to go with the old big cat who used to be the little cat. And it's like the circle of life, and it's a beautiful book. But again, what's having a moment, Frida's having her moment, books about death are definitely having their moment in the adult section. Not, of course, we don't deal with it so much on the kids level, but it is very current. Yeah. And so it might, because it is very much part of the zeitgeist.
Right. It's the trend.
The trend is books about death and dealing with death and being better about something that's going to happen to all of us.
Right.
And so Big Cat, Little Cat might be a way for the Caldecott Committee to recognize that and be part of the zeitgeist.
Yeah. Another one that I heard was After the Fall by Dan Santat? The Humpty Dumpty book.
Yeah, I liked that.
It was good. It was a different I think the illustrations were very different.
They were very different from the last one that actually did win. He did the one about imaginary friends, and the name completely escapes me right now.
Oh, really? He did that one?
Well, because Beagle.
Oh, yes.
And that won the Caldecott medal.
Yeah. Oh, that's a possibility. He might
win again. It is rare, but it does happen that people win a few times in a row.
Yeah.
I would love to see stuff that was an easier sell to families and children.
Yeah.
Get
like
the gold.
Alfie.
Caldecott.
The turtle book.
Oh, Alfie
The one
the
where
Turtle Book.
I
See,
love that.
that's not going to win.
I know.
It's a great story.
The illustrations are very plain.
They
you
are.
know?
Well, it's the illustrations are to tell the story.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
Not, and yes, the Caldecott Medal, it's best illustrated story to go with the words.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's
We'll
an
see.
exciting time. And
It
also
is.
the
It's
Book of
exciting.
Mistakes is another one. But we read it yesterday and I didn't dig it. I don't know if you read it.
I liked it, but it is very. It's very art school, which I
Just like Plume.
It is. I did.
Yeah.
I brought home the Book of Mistakes for my 3rd grade daughter to read because she gets very frustrated when she makes mistakes, and
Oh,
she's
right.
an artist.
Did she read it
and
last night?
We didn't. Last
No.
night we read Tacky's Christmas by Helen
Oh.
Lester, and then we were all singing Tacky Christmas songs like "Oh Tacky Tree, Oh Tacky Tree," which it comes with the CD. So
Yeah.
And so no, that's what we read at bedtime last night. We were reading
cool.
Christmas books.
Yeah.
But no, the Book of Mistakes, that is for her to read, and it's very art school.
Yeah.
But that being said, the Caldecott Committee does sometimes award what I think are very kind of less. They don't really have the reader in mind, and they're very much about the presentation and the art. And I am all for children being exposed to the art in picture books. It is the first place that they're exposed to art.
Yeah.
But
I think that maybe back in the day, the Caldecott Awards were more geared towards the reader. And now it kind of is not. It's more about the art and more
Right.
about the actual description of the Caldecott Award. But I think before, like in the 90s and the 80s, 70s, it was more about the reader's experience with the book.
yeah, I'm trying to think of
So.
some really old ones. I mean, of course, there's
Well,
The
Kitten's
Snowy
First
Day.
Full Moon,
Kitten's
but it
First
also had
Full
good
Moon
illustrations.
It's got amazing illustrations.
Yeah.
And Where the Wild Things Are, and
Yeah.
The Snowy Day, and
Caps for Sale, did that win a Caldecott? I'm pretty sure. Or it had an honor, at least.
does it? I'm not so sure
I
it
don't
did,
know.
actually. I don't think so. And that came out in 1939.
Yeah, that's got to be
And so
my favorite.
I have a feeling Millions of Cats might have won a Caldecott that year, but I could
Oh,
just
really?
be guessing.
1940 it came out. I'm looking at it
1940
right
was Cats
now.
for Sale. And did it win any awards?
Popularity. No, I don't think it did.
Yeah, I don't think
It's not
it
saying
did.
it.
But so that's the whole
Oh, that's
thing.
crazy.
Is that there are some books that become classics. I have a feeling it was like Millions of Cats by Wanda Gag
Yeah.
might have won the Caldecott that year. Which again, still in print.
Yeah.
But yeah. So no, so basically we've got Caps for Sale that everybody loves and did not win an award, and so there's no telling what the Caldecott Committee will pick.
Yeah, it really depends on the people that are on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we know what the New York Times picked for Best Illustrated. It was very
Yeah.
exciting to go through these today.
Yeah.
And we'll see what Caldecott Newbury, and maybe we can do this again.
Yeah,
when
that would be
Newbury
awesome.
comes out.
Yeah,
That would be fun.
I know. I really liked every book. I feel like that we looked at with the New York Times list was different, and it was. I think all of them were good in their own ways. Even the one, what is it? Town is by the Sea. That one was probably. It was hard to.
Was it your
get
hardest sell
through.
for you? It was
Yeah.
your hardest. I did. I think the
So.
illustrations really propel that book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks. See ya.
Our podcast is produced by Sarah Clark, engineered by Ryan Slowey in the Albany Made Creative Lab. Theme song by Ryan Devine. We'll be back soon with another episode of the Albany Made podcast. Thanks again for listening.